This call is being recorded.
Good Monday morning, everybody. This is Tammy Nichols, and you are on our Monday morning business builder call. This is such a great call to get all of us just revved up and ready to go for the week. And Margie just said she can't believe Thanksgiving is next week. I agree, and I'm so thankful it's at the end of the month, so it gives us lots of great time to get our tastings in before the holidays start. So this morning, I cannot believe it, but it is already November the 18th. And Allison Bennett is going to be leading this call this morning. Allison and I grew up in this business together. She was one of my very first recruits. She started about 30 days after I did, as soon as she got home from a mission trip. So we've had a ton of fun with this business, have earned so many fun trips together, had lots of laughs, lots of giggles, lots of, like all of us, lots of ups and lots of downs, and that's part of this business, but we've stuck through it together. So Allison, I cannot wait to hear from you this morning.
Thank you, Tammy. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good Monday morning. I want to talk today about the importance of launching your new consultants. I find it interesting. I'm looking in the back office, just looking for forms and things like that. And there's really not a lot of information or training on the launch tasting, but it is so important. Wine consultants come on board and they put themselves in our hands. They are at their most vulnerable. They're stepping into new territory in the dark, and they feel insecure. And it's up to us to lead them through that and build their confidence. And the launch tasting is really key to doing that. Jane opened leadership conference one year with this statement, and it rings in my heart. And I really want you to write this down and put it in your office because it inspires me every day. And she said, "We are the stewards of our people's futures." And I feel great responsibility in that. And I think those are such beautiful words, as they always are coming from her mouth. But they are in our care, and the launch tasting empowers them to keep walking into their wine business and building a great future. So, what is a launch tasting? The launch tasting is the first tasting where a new consultant is trained by an upline leader. The guest bookings and prospects are all for the new consultant, propelling his or her business forward. The launch tasting is the most important tasting of a consultant's career. It is the most important tasting of their career. It's the jumping off point for their career. That's why we call it a launch. It is deep training, a 360-degree view of the tasting experience. They experience what it's like to be a host, a guest, and a wine consultant all at once. And it sets them up for success and a full understanding of our business. It builds confidence, and many people walk away from that and they say, "I can do this." And they're so excited that they can do it because they were wondering if they could before. But we're showing them that they can do it. And there's a big difference in a wine consultant that's been launched personally and one that's not. Some people never fully take flight. But there are ways around that when you're geographically unable to launch them. You can spend a lot of time on the phone and train them, lead them to certain tasting videos, and help them really work through that when they are geographically too far from you. It's not a guarantee of success. I've launched plenty of people, and I've driven plenty of miles to launch plenty of people that have never had another tasting. But it does give those with promise more of a chance of success. Do not allow a new wine consultant to, quote, launch themselves. Have you ever, I know all of you have had people that said, "Oh gosh, I can do this on my own. I have tastings at my house all the time. I can do this on my own. This is a piece of cake." Well, there's so many nuances to our business, and there's so many opportunities for things to go wrong or take a turn that maybe isn't best for the outcome of the tasting. I would allow them to present one or two wines, but you are there to be sure that the tasting flows and that they get bookings. The purpose of a launch is training. Your focus and purpose is to book tastings. It's the most important. We're going to talk about that more. It's to get orders for them and sales, to add wine club members, and to identify prospects. It's also, the purpose is to show them the compliant way to lead a tasting. If the launch is held at their house, they experience what the host experiences. They're worried about cleaning the house, the pairings, selecting the guest, all the details of hosting a tasting, plus the duties of a wine consultant. And they're very nervous in front of you. They're nervous. So it's up to us to set them at ease. And in a perfect world, a good friend that hosts the launch is a good plan. Then the wine consultant can focus only on the tasting. And that's really my preferred way of doing a launch tasting, is to do it at their friend's house so they're not worried if the bathroom is clean or not. So for the sponsor, you want to arrive earlier than usual to set up for the tasting setup basics, kind of your tasting basic setup lessons. You want to go through the white packet with them and show them what's inside. You want to show them how to set up their boards. Are there pins? Do they have pins in their wine bag? You want to set the places for each guest. You want to show them how to open the wine bottles with the corkscrew. A lot of people don't know how to use our corkscrew that comes in their business kit. And you want to show them the easy way to use it. Now, I'm sure you're the same way. I can open 6 bottles of wine in no time flat with that little black corkscrew. I can use it faster than any kind of mechanical corkscrew. You want to show them how to use the posi pours and explain the importance of that. And you want to remind them not to put the posi pour on the sparkling. I don't know if anyone has had that experience, but it explodes if you don't know. You want to show them how to pour the wine with the posi pour and the importance of using them, and keep reiterating that. Discuss and show them the host bottle and show her how to present it. Remind her how you're going to present it. You want to tell her about greeting the guest and what to look for, what questions to ask, how to identify prospects and what to look for, identifying future hosts. Who's coming that loves to host parties, that loves to gather people? You want to start, getting her mindset on those type questions and that way of thinking. Explain what her focus needs to be at the tasting. Her focus is about observing you, identifying and listening for key phrases from the guest and phrases that you're going to use in the tasting. Give her a tasting observation sheet. If you do not have one from the back office that Wine Shop at Home has created, make one for yourself. I have one that's much simpler and not such small print. I'm over 40, so I need the big words. But give her something that keeps her focused on the flow of the tasting and what to observe. And then you want to talk to her in advance about a checkout station. Where can we put the checkout station? Explain the importance of that. So that's all before the tasting. You're just getting her set up and training her on what to look for and how to prepare for the tasting. So her focus again is on observing and the tasting observation sheet. Remind her to complete it during the tasting. Her focus is the mechanics of the tasting, the opening, the commercials, the closing. Write down any questions that we can discuss afterwards. You want her to watch and not be the host, not worry about the hosting responsibilities. Your main focus is you're the hawk. You are in a hunting role right now, and you're training too. So this is not the time to be fancy, to do backflips, impress the crowd with your wine knowledge. Keep your tasting simple because you're there to train. You're there. Your number one function is to book tastings for her, and that's your main function. Look for prospects. Play the court game. Look for opportunities around the room, like corporate sales, or how to identify people to identify that are good in that role for corporate sales. You want to also look for sales and wine club members, and you want to show her how to have a tasting that is completely compliant. Pretend that the Alcohol and Beverage Commission is there filming you, or that you're making a training video for Wine Shop at Home, but be completely compliant. If there's a curveball, a seasoned consultant can handle it and train about a situation. And at my launch tastings, I hope that there's a curveball. I'm hoping that there is, so that I can train to it. Is there a wine expert in the room that's going to try to hijack your tasting and take over? Is there a guest that arrives late? That almost always happens. Is there a wine that's sold out that you're tasting tonight? Is there a hard question that comes your way? Are the guests talking? Is there a sweet wine drinker and you've got an all red dry wine tasting? How do you deal with each one of those situations? You want to show her how to deal with these situations and discuss it later, because you know it's going to come up in her next tasting. One of those situations is going to come up in that next tasting. So you've conducted your tasting, people have placed orders, and now you want to check them out. And you want your wine consultant to shadow you as you take orders and check people out and you talk to the guest. Ideally, you have a checkout station set up and you want her to sit right next to you at that checkout station. And you want to do the complete checkout like you're doing a training video. When would you like to book your tasting to that guest? Hand her the new wine consultant's open date calendar. When do you want to add on, or which wine club do you want to add on to your order? Maybe for a gift. Do you want red, white, 2 bottles or 4 bottles? You want to look at the back or look at the interest form at her court game answer. Susie, you had such a great time at the tasting. I think that you'd be an awesome wine consultant. It's such a fun way to earn money to take your family on that trip that you talked about. And I can show you how you can do that. Can we schedule a time to have coffee? Well, yeah, sure. Well, great. Is Tuesday at 10 a.m. or Wednesday at 9 a.m. best for you? Tuesday. Wonderful. I'm going to send you home with a little info to read, and we can answer your questions on Tuesday. And you want to write that appointment time on the envelope, or that time that you're going to have that call with her. And then you want to enter the wine order and show your consultant how you do that. Compliment the guest. These are great selections. You're going to enjoy all of them, and send her with her receipts. So these are tips for you as the sponsor when you're doing a launch. You want to save a copy of each one of those interest forms. I would take the pink copy with you because you just want to be able to remember what someone ordered when you're training your consultant afterwards. Select a day or two of the week that you conduct launches. Do you conduct launches on Tuesday? Do you conduct them on Wednesday? You want to set your schedule so that your new wine consultant is not controlling your schedule. Require that your new consultant that they have at least X number of tastings already booked before her launch. What's the best number for you? Is it 1, 2, or 3, or whatever, before you come and conduct their launch, especially an out-of-town launch? You want them to have their calendar with some tastings. Also, ask a friend, get the IWC to ask a friend to host the launch for her, so she's not worried about all the house details. I would just get in the practice of doing that, and she gets the opportunity to sit back and just observe. And then also ask the IWC to create an open date calendar before the tasting. I know some of this is just obvious and elementary, but be sure that you know what her open dates are before that launch tasting so you can help her book tastings on that night, those open nights. Remember, we're stewards of our people's future, and the launch sets him or her off to a great start, and it gives them the best chance for success. So I know that this is very basic, but maybe a new consultant is on the call and they're not sure how to do a launch tasting. I'm not sure that we really train them on how to do a launch. So be sure that you implement a training with your new consultants on how to conduct a launch when it's their time to launch their new team members. So that's all. I hope that you all have fabulous launches, and everybody you launch from this point on is an amazing success, and you've set them up for great success in their business.
Hey, Allison, this is Nina.
Hi, Nina.
How you doing? Sorry, I'm out walking, so I know I sound like I'm out of breath. But great call. Thank you. I am such a huge proponent of what you just talked about, because we are the advocates for our new consultants to overcome those objections that you talked about and help them when they shadow us at our tastings. It's different because we already know what we're doing. So we're experienced and we're helping them so that they don't go off to their first tasting and fail and quit. Right. So I'm so glad that you talked about that. The other thing I wanted to throw out there was the nickel bottle. New consultants have that opportunity at their tastings, especially at their launch, to help them get new bookings, to talk about that nickel bottle. We as seasoned consultants do not get that opportunity because it's only for new consultants. So that's another way to help them get those bookings at their launch.
That's true. I didn't think to include that, but you're right.
But great call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, it was a fantastic call. And, this is interesting because any of us who are senior on this call, we're all huge advocates of launching our new consultants, if they're geographically accessible to do that, as Allison said. And the reason we do it is because we all did it in the beginning, and we knew what kind of success we had. And that's the one thing we're trying to bring back to this business builder call is the very simple basics that worked for us when several of us started this business several years ago, and we kept things very simple and it worked. And we saw more promotions then, we saw more excitement then, we saw huge sales then. So that is our goal here. Allison, before we hang up, will you address your thoughts on consultants drinking at wine tastings?
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that. We're not there to drink, everybody. We are there to train, and we're there to add numbers. So I think it's best that we do not drink. Pour 1 ounce of wine in your glass. I usually pour 1 ounce of the white wine in a glass so that you can hold it up and show it and demonstrate. And then I pour 1 ounce of the red wine in my glass so you can show it and demonstrate it. But we are not there to drink. And we're there to market wine, and we're there to train our new consultant, and we need all of our mental faculties in order to do that, because there's a lot going on all around us. It's a challenging night for you and for the new consultant because there's so much going on. So keep your mind and your wits about you. And you also want to train your new consultant not to drink. Like I said, pretend that you're filming a video for the training for Wine Shop at Home and do everything like you would want it to be recorded.
Hey, Allison.
Thank you, Allison. Oh,
sorry, Tammy. Since we're on
go
that,
ahead.
you guys, I feel compelled to jump in. So one of my least favorite ways to share this business is when people say, I get paid to drink wine.
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like it tends to, I think if we treat our business like we are professional wine marketers and not overcomplicating it, making the job look easy for sure, right? But I think that if we act like professionals, we're going to be treated like professionals more often. So, I don't know that I would be super enticed to join a business where the tagline was, I get paid to drink wine. So I'm with you guys. I may drink a little more than 1 ounce. I'm not going to lie. But I agree with the entire philosophy of what you're talking about. We're there to work. And I think that we need to present ourselves as such.
True. Does anybody else
Exactly.
have a tip they want to share about the launch that I didn't cover? I would love to hear if you have a tip that's going to help us all, because it is such a powerful event. And I think we do need to talk about it more. So what tips do you have?
It's Margie. Can you hear me?
We can.
Hello. Okay, cool. Sorry. So my tip is also tell the consultant that your job is to help her book tastings, and that when you start to kind of lean on her friends to book, to just be quiet. Because I've had so many new consultants will jump in and say to me, well, I know how to get a hold of her, Margie. Don't worry. She's promised me she'll book. It's okay, Margie, if she won't commit right now, and it's my job to get that tasting book. And if I had $1 for everybody who was gonna book in the future, I'd have a lot of dollars. So I always warn my consultant to just please let me do my job, lean on your friends, and keep quiet.
That is so, that's true. It's so funny. The other thing that I want to mention too, if there are newer consultants or newer leaders on this call, for the launch tasting, you want that consultant or the host to invite people from different groups. You don't want everybody to be from the neighborhood. You don't want everybody to be from the children's classroom or everybody to be from the soccer team. You want one person from the soccer team, one from the neighborhood, one work associate, one childhood friend or high school friend, so that each one of those people can book tastings and lead you into other groups. If it's all from one group, they're going to that one person's going to invite everybody that was already there. So train that new consultant to invite people from different groups that can influence other people.
Great call. Let me say one more thing. I just want to address the drinking thing one more time. Guys, no one wants us as the consultants drunk in their home. And if you're not booking wine tastings, I'm going to ask you to take a look in the mirror and ask how many times do you think you drank too much in that host's home? Because nobody wants that. They love us. They don't want us to spend the night, nor do they want us drunk in their home. So I just want to kind of push that button a little more there. I agree wholeheartedly. I very much, I pour the sparkling and then I'll pour the first red. And if I'm really strict on my keto, I don't even take a sip. Guess what? They're not paying attention to me. They're having a ball. They don't know if you're drinking that wine or not, and they don't care. So don't get caught up on that. Okay, Allison, fantastic call. Are there any more comments on the board that I can't see? Nothing? Okay, great call. And we're under 25 minutes. I just want to say that because this is a call well worth listening to again. So we'll get it on to Monday Night Live crew and then get it pushed on out into our team pages. Tonight, guys, we've got Mandy Harkleroad, hopefully with 2 or 3 or 4 of her little boys streaking through the background for us. We don't know yet. It could be a show. But she's going to be leading the call tonight, and it's going to be about booking tastings at tastings. And I know all of us have challenges with that sometimes. Sometimes we get timid. Sometimes we get shy. Sometimes we get bashful. Sometimes we get intimidated. Whatever it is, but this girl knows how to do it, and she does it well. So please dial in tonight to this call. Let's not miss out on Mandy. She is an amazing leader. We're going to hear great things from her. Allison Bennett, as always, you led a fantastic call this morning. Thank you so very much. And we'll see you guys tonight on Monday Night Live. Happy Monday, everybody.
Bye, everyone.